Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. It's always exciting to show you the many features in academia that are going to help you a lot with managing your center, keeping track of your student attendance, and having all those really nice reports at the end of the week or the month. So today is going to be a really exciting feature, which is going to be the Manage Center screen and how you can work with it and take advantage of the features that it provides and some of the features actually that most people might not be using right now, and they are going to be really nice, at least to give it a try. First, I would like to show you some little introduction on how the manage screen works and what are the different ways that the students can join the Manage Center screen and go through the sessions. So the first way that you can use it, or the gateway to go to this Manage Center screen, is going to be these virtual walk-in links. That is the really new feature that you can find. And actually, I would like to show you quickly because in the ones that don't know about it, I would like to show where that is. Right here in the center attendance, there is a virtual sign-in link that you can use to create those virtual kiosks or virtual links that we can call. And basically, if you notice right here on the right, this student has been using one of those virtual links to join online from the comfort of their laptop at home, probably, to the Manage Center screen because they are going to have an online session. So basically, you create those virtual kiosks, you provide the links to the student, they use the link, and they can join those tutors online via Zoom, via Google Meet, whatever platform you're using. And as you see right here on the left, this is the student following the link, making the selection. And on the right, you can see the actual Manage Center screen that you can find right here in the Center Attendance Manage Center. Okay, this is the main feature. And this is actually one of the menus that you're going to be using more often, just because remember that everything is going to be taking place here. So all those students going through appointments, walk-ins, going in and out, they are going to be set here. And this is where you're going to be seeing those people coming in and out. And you're going to be able to manage those students, taking them to the tutors and back, putting them back online. There's a lot of features that I'm going to show you. So this is where you find it, Center Attendance Manage Center. Obviously, you need to be an administrator or have a permission to manage the center in order to see this. Okay. Now, the second gateway to join the Manage Center screen is going to be via a regular kiosk. A regular kiosk or a sign-in station is a machine somewhere in the lobby, in front of the center, at a location somewhere that you have right there set up as a kiosk. And this is where the student, as you can see right here on the right, they can type their IDs, they can follow the wizard telling us exactly what they need help with, and then they can join, as you can see right here on the left, to the center to have the session. It could be an appointment or a walk-in. Okay, so as you can see right now, actually, you see Patrick joined via a virtual link, and Fernando joined via a regular kiosk. So everybody's going to be funneling in to this center screen where you can manage them and see what they are doing. Now, the third one is going to be via an appointment. Remember that when you create an appointment as a student or as a tutor, basically what you are doing is that you are setting up a time in the future. Let's say tomorrow, 9 a.m., I want to have an appointment related to biology and the service tutoring, for example. And the tutor is going to be John Smith. So basically, when I create that appointment and tomorrow comes, then I will come to the kiosk, I will put my ID, and I want you to notice actually the difference. And this is something that sometimes we are having some difficulties understanding. If you notice on the right, this is telling you that Accudemia is recognizing that Susie, this student right here, is having an appointment with Andy Stafford. And so by Accudemia recognizing that, that means that when you click that sign me in, if you are Susie, then Accudemia is creating a session log and is saying, I know that you're here, Susie, go get your appointment. I'm going to track your attendance from right now. Now, if you notice, there is another button in the bottom, and this is a tip that I would like to provide so you can tell your staff and your students. If by any chance they make a mistake and they don't click sign me in and they click the walk-in button, what they are saying basically is that Accudemia, I am not going to participate in the appointment that I scheduled. I am going to do a walk-in instead. And that is I mean, unless you really want to do that, because let's say the tutor cannot come to the appointment, there is some reason why the appointment is not going to take place, and you do want to do a walk-in instead. If you select that and you are there for an appointment, then what's going to happen is that Accudemia doesn't know that, and Accudemia is going to assume that you're doing a walk-in session and that the appointment is going to be a no-show. So if you are the student that is joining the appointment, it's really important, one, that you go to the kiosk, put your ID, and make sure that Accudemia is recognizing that you do have an appointment. And that is why, as you can see right there, Accudemia says, I found an appointment with Andy today at 10 a.m. and it provides the information. And that means that I am signing to the appointment. Otherwise, if I click walk-in, then the appointment is going to be a no-show, and I'm going to have a walk-in session that is not related to the appointment. Okay? Then later, if that happens because of some mistake, then what we can do is that we can go to the appointment, and instead of putting it's going to be a no-show, and then we can say, I am going to clear this no-show because the session log that Accudemia think is a walk-in was in true terms, it was the appointment that the student just clicked the wrong button. Okay, so just make sure that the student is clicking the right button so you don't have a no-show for no reason. So as soon as you do that and you click that sign me in, as you can see on the left, this is the Manage Center screen. Now Patrick has been signed in via a walk-in link. Fernando has been signed in via a walk-in kiosk. And then Susie has been signed in via a regular kiosk to an appointment. And that is the difference between the two. Okay? And now the fourth and last but not least is the virtual appointment. Remember that in Accudemia, we can manage a wide variety of activities. And depending on the nature, you can do face-to-face appointments or walk-ins and virtual appointments or walk-ins. In this case, this is a virtual appointment. So basically, when you create a virtual appointment, you are telling Accudemia, I need a link to join this appointment. I am not coming to the center. I'm going to be using this link to join via Zoom, via Google Meet, whatever the tutor is going to be using. Then Accudemia is going to be sending a link to that student. And then let's say today it was at 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. And then the student will use that link. And that is what you see on the right. That is the student that used that link, or they went to Accudemia and they joined that virtual appointment. And now they are ready to participate in the actual session. And actually, if you notice, once that student clicks the join session now, they are going to go to the Manage Center screen. So basically, in general terms, you have 4 ways to join the Manage Center screen: the virtual kiosk, the regular kiosk, either for appointment or for walk-ins. Okay, so those are the 4. Now, I would like to start mentioning, okay, this is an example for a Manage Center screen, and this is what you will typically see on any typical day. Okay, so basically in the Manage Center screen, there is going to be 3 sections. One is the waiting section, which is the one in the top that Margaret is right there waiting. The second one is the signed in section where people are having the session. Remember, please, that once you join the waiting line, you haven't created a session log yet. Okay, you're just waiting. So if Margaret were to just go back home and don't go to the session, she's not going to be recorded because she's just waiting there. Okay, in order to have a session log, then Margaret will have to join the session and instead of being just waiting. Okay, so that is the sign-in section is the second section. Actually, you can see that Jose, Fred, and Clara are having a session right there, and you can see actually how long they have been there, what is the service that they have picked, and what is the course related to. And actually, you can see your staff on the right. You can see that Chris, Marcy, and Daniel are the 3 staff that are having sessions with these students. Okay, now I want you to see in this, on the third section that is not here, is in the bottom, is the recently signed out section. So once you finish your session, you're going to go to that section there in the bottom, just for you to know that John recently signed out. So you have some information. But these are the 2 more important sections there. And I want you to see these 4 buttons that you see in the middle, because those are really important. You see that put back in line button, the second one there, and that is really important. Why? Because let's say that Jose, for example, was going to have the session, but then something happened. The session didn't start because the tutor was not ready, because there is a blackout, there is a connection issue, for whatever reason it might be. that session hasn't really started. What you can do is to put back in line Jose, so he's going to be taken from the signing section to the waiting section. And why do you want to do that? Why? Because you want to have accurate data. So the session log, in order to be created, the student needs to be having the actual session and not waiting. So if Jose cannot join the appointment for some reason, then you can put Jose back in line. And that also works for the online walk-ins or appointments. Remember that there's going to be some students that are joining the Manage Center screen from their computer. If for some reason they joined the session, but the tutor was not ready or there's something going on, you can always, and remember that this has to be an administrator or a staff who can manage this screen. They can be put back in line so the student knows that the session is not ready. You will need to wait a little longer. So that is a really cool feature that is going to allow you to, streamline your waiting queues and your signing queue so people know exactly what is going on. Okay. Now, the other one that I would like to show you is this option that you can enable that's called calling notes. That is really nice, and some people might not know that this is there. You can customize this in the Manage Center screen. There is actually, if you notice right here, and the bottom and the actually right screenshot, that little wheel that you see there, if you click that, there's going to be an option to one, enable the waiting line, because you can have the waiting line enable or disable. Let's say that you have a really calm day, there is not that many students, you have plenty of staff, then it makes sense that you disable the waiting queue. Then the student will go directly to the session instead of going to the waiting queue and from there being signed into the session. So it makes a lot of sense if you don't have that many people to have the waiting line disabled. Now, if you do have many students waiting in line and you don't have that many staff members, then please consider enabling the waiting line. Why? Because maybe you can have, let's say, 3 or 4 students that are searching for the same subject. And then you can say, I am going to link John, Mary, and Jessica with my tutor, John Smith. So basically, John Smith is going to be taking 3 or 4 students, while if you let them pick a tutor one by one, then the staff is going to have, let's say that you have 5 staff members, they are going to be picked by the first 5 students. And then you're no longer going to have any staff member. So basically, the waiting queue is going to allow for you to streamline the queue and then link those students with the help that you have, the staff member, based on your availability, depending on how many staff you have. And then that new feature, on the feature for calling notes, basically, if you enable it and using that same button, there is an option to enable calling notes. Basically, what that is going to do, I'm sorry, is that the student, when they are signing through a kiosk, they can put like a note. For example, as you can see in this example, they can say, please call me 10 minutes before the session starts because I'm going to be like kind of far away, or please use my just send me a message through this phone number because I'm going to be away. There is a lot of things that maybe you want to leave as a note. So basically, if you notice on the right, this is going to show in the Manage Center screen, and then I will be able to tell, oh, it's Patrick's turn, and he's saying, please call me 10 minutes before the session start. Then I can, do whatever he says, and then maybe he's going to say, I'll be waiting in front of the lobby. Please check. I'll be next to the library. So there's a lot of things that the student can say there, and you can take a look at it and then take action of whatever the student wants. Okay. The other one is when they are picking the tutors. Remember that there is 2 ways to do this. One is to let the student pick a tutor in the wizard, the selection wizard, because maybe they know already some tutors. They have some relationship. They know that, for example, John is really good at biology. I have worked with him before, so I want to work with him again. So it's okay. And actually, most of the schools will allow the student to pick their tutor that they prefer. But let's say that at the time of the session, that tutor is not available. Let's say, for example, right here, that Margaret is signing in with me, actually, and I am not available for some reason. I was not there at the time, so I have to do a change. And then if you notice, in that sign-in screen where I check that checkbox in the waiting queue, and I am trying to sign in the student, I can pick the student selection, which is Jorge, or I can change the selection and assign another tutor to that student. Okay, And as you can see right there, for example, Jorge was not there. I was not there at the time. And then they are assigning Kimberly to help Margaret. So that is something that you can do. You don't need to sign in the student and then later fix the session log. You can do it right away. And you can pick from the currently available tutors or from other tutors depending on what's the availability, how many people you have there. Okay. Another one that is really nice is when you're in the Manage Center screen, you have access to the tutoring assessment and the comments for the session log. And I'm going to explain really quickly what this is. When you are creating a session log or when an activity takes place, if you have an assessment form created, which is basically a set of questions that you want to ask the tutor about what happened during the session. Let's say that you, for example, right there, one of the examples is there's a simple question: how did the student go in the session, for example? And then you can do that from the comfort of the Manage Center screen, and that is really good because you have the information fresh. So the tutor right there, he just finished the session and he can answer right away. The other way would be to go to the session log screen, and that has to be done later where maybe he doesn't remember exactly what happened during the session. So as you can see right there, the tutor or a staff or whoever was joining the student, they can click that tutoring assessment and they can complete the assessment right there. Or on the right, they can put some comments to the session log. Remember that assessments and comments are similar, but not exactly the same. When you are filling out a tutoring assessment, you have a formal set of questions that you want the tutor to answer. For example, how long it took, if the student was ready, what exactly they dealt with. But the comments is something more public. Like if you want to, for example, put an attachment from a PDF that you use during the session, from a book that you use during the session. For example, as you can see in this example, he was joining a tutor, and the tutor said the student was able to complete exercise 1 to 2, but he's still having some difficulties with subject C. So there's a lot you can do from the comfort of the Manage Center screen. And by the way, you can put attachment too. So if you want to put an attachment about something, some file that you guys were having discussion during the session, you can put it there too. The other one is the cast screen feature, and that is really nice. And during COVID times, this was used highly. And this is really cool. Why? Because you can, as you can see, there is a cast screen button right there in the Manage Center screen, and you can basically replicate the screen for the Manage Center screen in several monitors, TVs, any device that can handle a web page. And as you can see right there, this highlighted in yellow is the URL where you're going to be copying that URL and pasting it in any browser on any device. And basically, as you can see, you can have the screen with the list of students waiting, having a session posted on several places. And this is really good because we don't want people to gather in the same spot. So basically, I can have a TV down the lobby. I can have a computer at the other entry. I can have several devices so people will see it and they will say, oh, I'm the number 5 in line. Then I can still wait. I'm number 2 online. Then I have to get closer to the center because I'm about to have a session. And I want you to notice that the casting screen also has option. If you, for example, don't want to show the tutor information, if you don't want to show some particular information, you can click this option that you see highlighted in green, and then you can show more or less information about those waiting queues. Now, there's something else that I would like to show, and I was showing just recently to one of my users, which is the priority services. If you have and you probably do have something like this, you can specify that a service is able to skip the waiting line, or you can make it what we call a priority service. And what that's going to do is that, let's say that you have a counseling service, which is a priority service. So whoever is asking for that service needs to be seen right away. So if you do that, if you go to the service and you declare that this service is a priority service, then look what is going to happen. If you notice on the right, Albert, that student, he signed in just a minute ago, but he didn't go through the waiting queue. Actually, you can see Margaret still waiting there. And the reason he didn't go through the waiting queue is that he chose that face-to-face counseling service that I declare as a priority service. So basically, he can jump over the queue because I need, in this case, to see right away whoever is asking about this service. So if you do have something like that, where you need to prioritize some of the services, then please be my guest. And then the students are going to go through the queue and they are going to jump over the queue to be seen first. Okay. Then there is something else that I wanted to show you, and this is the last thing that I would like to show for today. So you can please check, and then we can provide more information that we do have in the newest update that we got for Accudemia. Accudemia is growing a lot. We are putting a lot of new, really nice features into it. You can see that there is a new widget. If you go to your homepage, you probably, and if you don't see that, then please talk to your IT so they can enable this new widget. And basically, this widget is going to show the information about the Manage Center screen, but in the homepage. So if you want to see all the information condensed in the homepage, and actually you can see that it looks really cool. You can see whoever is waiting in the waiting queue, Margaret and Patrick are there, and then who is signed in and who recently signed out. So basically, you get to access that data along with some information like this graphic that you can see how many people are coming. Then you have the quantity of the visits depending on the days of the month. So you can see what days of the weeks are where you had the more visit. So that is a new widget that we have, along with many other really nice widgets. So please talk to your IT or your Accudemia administrator if you don't get to see this information and you think that it should be really relevant for your work. Then you can see that in the homepage. It's called Manage Center widget, and you can have it enabled, and it looks really nice. So this is all that I wanted to share for today. There's a lot of new features coming to Accudemia. There's a lot of things that are going to be really helpful. If you have any question, I would love to take it right now, or we can send you some documentation and you can try it. And then if you have some issues, you can always contact support@accudemia.com, which is the very best way you have to reach out to your support team. Thank you so much.